Welcome to a sad day. But yeah, I want to be real with y'all for just a real minute, just 1 minute. And that is, I know that there's been times too, also too, of course, that I, may have been just a little out of line, but as they say, of course, as for the greater good. But I don't want to also make, because of course I don't want to be that also to make it seem like I'm just, oh yeah, you already know, recognize what it is, but it's not about, like, I'm not deliberately or just straight up trying to, like, or when it comes to just putting down, putting down this generation. It's not to say that this generation, what's going on out, just today's professional wrestling is all completely bad. I said technically being a technical, I like to consider myself that technically I'm a part of this current generation, iteration. Is, and I said it's not like, yeah, because I said it's not all bad, and I don't want to see, it's not. I said it's not all about that, and just because I may sound a certain way, and then it may come out the other. But of course, I don't want to make it seem that way. But make no mistake about it when I say that in this context, because I also wanted to, like, but I feel like will still be the perfect, even though but I feel like this still will be the most perfect video. This will be the ideal video for that. I may have to switch around when it comes to the editing a little bit, but I feel like this is the perfect ideal, the perfect moment to address and I feel like it's just that, and I want to bring up The Rock, of course. Like, I want, that one person that is, that's making a lot of the noise lately, and I want to bring up The Rock. And of course, I feel like those three people, that's definitely that falls in category with that. I mean, I think it was a couple of days ago, I had watched Man of Steel, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I feel like it was a lot of people don't like it. They feel as if of course it's not how it is when it comes to comic book nerds, and it also be this probably be like the casuals too, that felt like it wasn't actually Superman. But I kind of disagree with that. But yeah, I feel like I watched Man of Steel, and that one movie, of course, the one directed by Zack Snyder, and of course, the first the DC before, of course, became what it is, and what it is known today, and being rebooted as such. But yeah, I watched Man of Steel, and and necessarily it wasn't. Of course, it was all about the movie itself, but it felt like I was, truly, it felt like I was on cloud nine, and I feel like it felt like it truly felt good being able to enjoy a movie where also at the time you can be entertained, but just feel every emotion in the book, and it just that's how I felt with it. And I said it was truly a beautiful thing, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it's like, of course, I used to have that with professional wrestling. And it's not to say that, of course, there's some things that I still like about it. I mean, Gunther, he has a bit grown on me a bit. Well, of course, I do have my favorites today that vary. But, especially, like, for instance, when you two, and that's when I say that, when I talk about that movie, as I talked about in that certain context, and that boils down to, why do people, when you see that and you watch people feel every emotion in the book, whether it's angry, it's upset, happy, like you see them feel all the emotion at the same time, while also being at the same time. You can sum it all that up. You can sum all that up into as being entertained. And I said, why do people, as such, you find a character? Why are the characters that we know, the pop culture characters? That's just reminiscent with pop culture. Are so, why are they so popular? Because you could also talk about actors. Why that people say, I say even Taylor Swift. Why is it that Taylor Swift is as big as she is? These musicians, why is it that? It's because that they have their that audience is particularly drawn into what of course, obviously music, or whichever that may be, also the character too. There's something interesting about them that keeps that audience and that gravitates to them day in and day out. They relate to that person. They're just completely intrigued, and they also just consistently want to know more and more. And it's like, I said, back to like why, and what you see with whichever category that may be, why that do as many people buy into that? Why as many people why this certain thing may have, why this particular medium might have as many people as you think? Well, yeah, it's because that obviously that particular product has something that makes people gravitate towards it. And I say it's simple. It's because they're enjoyed by that. And I feel like that's most definitely the most key element. That's what's most missing. You have a guy like Roman Reigns that, of course, like he's been rolling, of course, but he's been top dog of the WWE for top guy for the last 4 years. Like I said, and then again, like, cause you have some people where it's not necessarily where they hate him, but where he's also, and especially it's also everything around him with the story too, has become just like it's starting like everything else. It's becoming repetitive. Therefore, people want something else to dig into, and dig into the fact that pretty much he's not there. And like I said, I can understand that to a certain degree. And like I say, top guys like that, where it's just, of course, and then you have world champions like Seth Rollins, where how can you take the guy seriously? Like, sure, the guy, he may somewhat, be somewhat, people can look at as okay, and maybe like, amused by the second, but it's not necessarily his character they're amused by, or his charisma, or however many qualities about him. It's just the simple fact that they laugh at him because, well, look at him. He's a joke, and that what they like, that represents. That's what the company wants to represent them. That's what the product represents right now, and it's like the must garner. You hear so much about what's going on with The Rock right now, and of course, like the social media between like the Instagram, of course, the social media promos, and then him being in the ring and just completely little broing everybody, little broing Roman and Cody, and it's like, yeah, and which I for wanted, but finally you get to Cody Rhodes. That he has the potential. I said, he being that I have for my reasons for not buying into Cody Rhodes, he has potentially all the tools to be the next top guy going after Roman, going into the next phase of WWE. But he doesn't, there's nothing about him that's compelling. you could talk about the story this and the story this and the story that, but like, okay, like, you know, you're like the father, like, you know, he's could possibly be the only one in his family to want to complete that story of being world champion. Okay, and when he does, when that story like, however lackluster, because it's not even also interesting to begin with, because you're losing because you're losing in and out, you're losing interest every other single week. And it's like, when that's finished, then you know, what is the next chapter going to be about? Is it going to be about the same thing? Like, really? Is that what people are riding the coattails all about? What is that the next? Yeah, is that the next chapter of how it's about what, that he is finally the first in his family to be world champion, and then it's the same thing? It's over and over and over and over again? Is that what we're looking forward to? Just the simple fact about what, how he's and we could talk about every other family member in his family, and it's like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, you have to have, like I said, and that's exactly why The Rock, and you know, is, you know, basically the most hot thing right now. It's because he, you know, it's The Rock. It's like the Rock, and I'll admit it too. The Rock isn't necessarily, of course, he's not The Rock of the old. Duh. This is not The Rock in his prime, like barely in his prime. But make no mistake about it, The Rock is still fucking hella entertaining. Like, it still is The Rock, and you already know The Rock does what The Rock does. And that brings me to what I'm about to bring up next, where it completely overshadows everybody. He outshadows Cody, Seth, Roman, and then he outshadows the entire roster, because then you have people that might tune in for The Rock, and it's like, and then after he's gone, they're tuning in for The Rock, and then you remind them of, like, damn, like, this is what we've been missing about professional wrestling for a long time. Like, what the hell happened? I said, the way he's going off the cuff, the cursing, it just how nonchalant, and just basically, like, you know, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and like, you're all bitches, like, basically, you're all tied down because of the simple fact that you refuse to step up and actually be a top motherfucker about it. And it's like I said, like, not to say that, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's like Cody and Seth, or guys that also too can also be that way. They can. Like I said, being that, like, so, however I may feel about Cody, he can be that. He can exactly be the type where they can of course, he's in the position to where he can take the company in the next direction, but at what cost? However may long, if he's not as exciting, if his brand is not as enticing as The Rock or even Roman, what's the point? And yeah, like, WWE is always, I mean, I can say one thing and then say another. The WWE is always going to be the WWE. You know, it's a machine. It's a global multi-empire. But you still have to look at what's in front. We still have to look at what's in front of us, and that's the simple fact. As I just mentioned before, The Rock reminds even viewers of, like, probably, I said hard viewers of the old, but it reminds casuals, maybe even hardcore, but simply that he's basically a reminder of what professional wrestling used to be. And like I said, but some people may refuse to not believe into that. But you know, you can think what you think, but you can't deny the simple fact, yeah, that what I'm saying might actually, like, you actually could take that in and apply it to what, and look at yourself, and there you go.